Okay, so I'm back. I was in the process of getting my other ingredients measured out. So basically, as you can see, it's starting to bubble, okay? Essentially starting to boil. I'm going to mix it just a little bit. This just started happening. So you got to pay attention to it because it'll creep up on you. It'll break down and then you won't be watching it. And then you'll walk back over to it and it'll start the bubbling, boiling process. So this is the important part. When my mom would make these, we'd get this thing to what we call a rolling boil, and it's starting to get there. But she would start timing it, say now. And if you can see, like right over here, it's just not like fluidly bubbling up the way that it is in the middle. So we really want that consistency with this rolling boil before we get into the point where we're going to time it. And it's just literally, you know, a matter of a minute or so of getting up to that point. But then you really start to smell this yummy chocolate and stuff. But you got to let it get to that. And now I would say that's pretty consistent. So we used to add it for 1 minute. At this point, I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute and 20 seconds. And I'm going to let that essentially count itself down. And I'm really not going to even mix this much. I'm going to let this boil. I might mix it just a smidge just to, you know, just kind of do this a little bit. But I'm not going to really stir the pot. You don't really need to. So you start smelling that yummy chocolate, and this is now a full rolling boil. So I've got the ingredients over here, and I need to finish with my peanut butter. But the first thing that's going to go in when this thing finishes, I'm going to pull it off the burner. I'm going to add this ½ teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to add a ½ cup of peanut butter, which I just need to finish measuring out. And then I already measured out my 3 cups of oatmeal. You need to do all this ahead of time because you're not going to have a lot of time to work with this when it's done. So I got to get my peanut butter going. You're going to get in blackout mode again because I got about 20 seconds left on the clock here. So, you know, you can heap your cups of oatmeal. You don't want to end up with 4 cups, but you can certainly have, you know, you don't need to level those off. You can have a little more. And I don't level the peanut butter off, as you're going to see here, because a little bit of extra peanut butter is nice. So my timer just went off. I'm going to pull this off the burner. Make sure I turn my burner off. The first thing I'm going to do is add my dash of ½ teaspoon here of vanilla. Turn my timer off. The next ingredient that's going to go in is all of this peanut butter. And I'll then get the video thing back up after I get the peanut butter out and in the pan. You want to get, you know, use your spatula and get all that peanut butter out of that cup. Get it in the pan. You can see what that looks like, right? So that's my peanut butter in there. I'm not going to mix yet. Now, well, maybe I can do this. I'm just going to dump in all that oatmeal, okay? Dump it in, and now you just have to start mixing this up very feverishly, okay? You got to mix it up really, really well. That's just a partial mix, but you got to keep mixing. I shouldn't be stopping while I'm doing this. Mix the hell out of it, okay? Mix, 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 mix. And mix it all in together so that all of your oatmeal is essentially covered in chocolate. And I'm going to show you what this looks like all mixed. So you mix it feverishly. There you go. It's all mixed together. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start spooning it. And I'm going to actually use a different spoon for that because this one's just way too big. So I'm going to bring the pot over. And just for your benefit, I'm going to set it down. And you just start scooping the stuff out, putting it on the foil. Now, if you have added a little too much oatmeal, or maybe you've cooked it a little too long, or who the heck knows, the stuff starts to set up pretty quickly. And I think this is going to be a really good batch. You can make these cookies as big as small as you want. Sometimes they set a little better at this size. Sometimes I use a bigger spoon, make them a little bigger. I'm going to turn you off, and then I'll show you the finished product in a minute.